So, Andrew, here we are, Cool Stuff Games Jacksonville. You just got back from Kissimmee, Florida last weekend. What did you play and how did you do?
So I played Tenpai. I got second place. It was a great event. We love going to Kissimmee. It's one of the better regionals that we have in this area, so it was a lot of fun.
Insane. We see that you've been playtesting this deck before release and after release, helping a few of our Jacksonville players understand how this deck gets played. You definitely have showcased what it can do. How was your experience at the regional?
It was a lot of fun. It's always a tough one, Kissimmee. It was a little bit less so this time just because we had a few players missing, but it was still pretty tough. We had a lot of Jax players went and do pretty well. My matchups were 2 Snake Eyes, 2 Mirror matches, 2 Branded, 1 Ubel, 1 Horus Pistol, and then Melodious, which took first place.
Awesome. Well, let's get into the profile. Do you have any shout-outs you want to do before?
Yep. Shout out to all Jacks as usual. I'm not going to name everyone, but shout out to all Jacks. The guys I went with, though, Joe, Mike, Andrew, and Brian. Thank you to Jacoby for helping me build the deck and lending me a few cards. And then shout out to the boy Fady, or his government name, Adam. He got second place last week at Bainbridge, and it gave us a lot of good ideas on what to change in the deck. We had a lot of data from that event that helped change a few good things. So.
Insane. Congrats. Let's go ahead and get into the list.
All right. We're going to go through some of these pretty quickly because the ratios are going to be the same across the board for all the profiles that you see. 3-3-2. If you run just 1, then you run into a problem of not having follow-up. Also, the combos get a little bit awkward if you just draw the 1. If you draw more than that, then it just kind of sucks. If you run 3 of them, you just draw it too often. So that's 3 common, 3 field spell. Card's good, card's cracked. I mean, who'd have thought if you make a midfield breaker for a deck, it just goes insane. So cards are insane. And then the last bit of engine, it's 20 engine, 20 non-engine. Running this, and then 3 prosperity. So prosperity, you should expect this in every single list. The card's insane. Konami, please do not hit it until after Nats. Let me play it for Nats, please. But otherwise, this card should get hit at some point. The card's just too good. These cards, yeah, you should obviously be playing Terraforming. So this is what I chose to play instead of Goldsark Blaster or Desires. Those are the only other consistency cards that you can play that actually matter. Goldsark Blaster kind of sucks because you never want to really pitch Blaster and one of your only fires in hand in order to neg-1 yourself in order to out a card. That sucks. Don't do that. You have very few engine cards as it is, so you're probably discarding your only fire card in order to do that play. And also, drawing both those cards is absolutely terrible. At least with these 2, you can actually put set rotation back off of way out. Because I'm not going to say the actual name of this card. Konami, thank you for an awful name change. Thank you for that. The other idea is that running 2 Desires instead, or 2 to 3 Desires. You see Urena was doing that, Nesh has been doing that. But I just don't like that because you have too many conflictions with the cards. Not to mention that you're running a Go Second deck, so the math, you got to think of consistency as terms of you have a 6-card hand, not a 5-card hand. 5-card hand for hand traps, but a 6-card hand for your engine and your board breakers. Because of that, the deck is not that inconsistent. I did not brick one time throughout the tournament or at Bainbridge, so that's what, 9 and 8 rounds. I didn't brick at all because you have the ability to get to the cards you need. Not to mention that, Prosperity helps and this card helps as well. So the idea with this card is that the field spell is that you can Prosperity again, kind of, and get another chance at getting the cards you need, and you get to run set rotation, so you get to run the maximum amount of copies of the field spell as possible. Because the field spell is broken and is the reason why you win games. So as many copies of that as possible so that you can actually win the game. Plus set rotation away Temple, really good. And the mirror match, it's an actual interruption because if they go activate field spell, activate effect, flip set rotation, then you just kind of lock them out of the game. Especially because they can't activate another field spell on top of the set one because you still have a set one. So it's just kind of funny. So I valued these cards over Desires. In the future, maybe we'll play Desires, but with Prosperity 3, I just don't think it's the way to go. Alright, non-engine. We're playing both hand traps and board breakers. You kind of need to play both. So this is what we're running. It's really basic, nothing to it. A lot of the main deck is very basic, but it's for a reason. You want consistency, you want hand traps that are good across multiple matchups. It's still a regional, so you're going to play against a lot of random stuff. So we're playing just all the basic ones. I was playing Ogre last week at Bainbridge. It was not good enough. Sure, it's good in the mirror match, but the idea behind it is that you can also hit IP and SP. The problem with that is that a lot of times they already have an Apo on board by the time they're doing that on your turn, so there's no real point in doing it. So it's not a real hand trap, it acts more of a board breaker in that case. Like, don't get me wrong, you could still Ogre Hita and give them the search, because at that point they've already summoned Poplar, it doesn't really matter. You give them an Ash, a lot of times your deck doesn't care about it. So Ogre's okay in that situation, but I'd rather just have Mourner and have it more applicable across other matchups. Nib was okay. I think it resulted once. I think I still lost that game, funny enough. But, like, it was good against Snake Eyes. In theory, it's still a good card to run. A couple of the YCS topping lists did not play it, and they just played Ogre and Mourner and played like 15 hand traps. I just went ahead and played Nib. I thought it was okay. It may change going forward because Melodious is picking up steam, so we're going to have to fine-tune the deck in order to beat that deck, so we'll figure that part out. But as far as the number-wise, so I ran 14 hand traps and then 6 board breakers. The math is kind of important because in a 40-card deck, when you run 14 hand traps, you get a around 54% chance of opening up 2 to 3 hand traps, and that's the sweet spot. You want to open up 2 to 3. You open up more than that, and you run the risk of not drawing any engine cards, and then drawing like board breakers after you just have nothing else to do. So you want to draw 2 to 3. You don't want to draw 4 to 5 or 0. That's what you don't want to draw. So this math was really important. You can run 15, it's fine, but like I just didn't want to take out any board breakers in order to fit that last hand trap. Oh, and also, I'm not running Magna in the main deck. I kind of want to side it going for it, but I'm not even running it then. Magna felt like a fake hand trap. It didn't feel like it was real against most decks. Even if you're trying to like hit the IP out, it's not. You're wanting to stop their full combo. You're not wanting to stop just that part. So I didn't like that, even if it gets me the engine. I just didn't feel like it was necessary enough. Maybe in the future, but not for now. And then the last bit for the deck, we're running the board breakers. These cards are great. I'm glad most people have decided to run these. I've been settled on this for like a month now. Just clear out the back row and then just deal with stuff like Sanctifier, because you still need to like respect that card. Yeah, these cards are great. I'm not changing that. I don't think anyone should. So that's it for the main deck. 40 cards. Don't think I would change anything in the main deck for this event. Going forward with Melodies on the rise, we'll have to change things, but for the event, it was perfect.
Insane. You play the extra deck?
Extra deck. Understandable. You run 2-1. I'm going to go on a mini rant. I've been part of a lot of Facebook groups over the years, but my God, the Tenpai 1, you guys need to calm down. Every day, I swear, you're asking if this card is necessary or what are we doing going first. I don't know what to tell you, man. If we go first, it's Seal's Pass with the hand traps and whatever you sideboarded. And yes, you do need to run this card if you want to be as competitive as possible. If you're a budget player, that's fine. I understand you not wanting to pick the card up, and it's not going to come up in most games, but there are going to be times when you need this card to actually win the game. So if you can, try to get the card. If you can and you're just wanting to have fun, completely fine, but don't try to justify it by pointing out to like Nesh's video or something. That's not the point he was trying to make. He was just saying it doesn't come up that often, but you still want it because it's optimal.
The card helps OTK in my OTK deck. So.
Yeah, like who'd have thought you actually want that card?
Yeah.
I don't know. All right, mini rant over. Rest of the synchros, all of these. Okay, so the only ones that are super necessary, these two. I go into these like literally all the time. They're great. Don't worry about this. This is going to be when we talk about the side deck a little bit. I played this instead of Moonlight. I changed this literally like right before the event on the car ride. So the only reason why I played this one over it is that this, when you shift to them and you only have like quick play spell, you can still kill into an open board. You can go quick play into Chandra, into Pydra, set the field spell, you attack, make this guy, pop the field spell, and that's over a game. That's yeah. Nice. This is literally the only reason to play it. It's decent otherwise. As far as these cards go, I played this because of good old boy Fucko. If you're playing Snake Eyes, you probably should be playing that card because it does buy you a turn most of the time. But if you do that, I'm still going to go into the battle phase and then I'm going to banish everything from your graveyard. Then I'm going to make Seal and Dissipator with backed up by hand traps. That's usually good enough because like just being able to banish the entire graveyard and you chain your Bident Dragon so you pop the Poplar and Poplar gets banished too. That's just good. So if you can't kill, it doesn't matter. You're killing a lot of their follow-up and you put enough decent interruptions. That being said, I just still didn't summon them all tournament. This came up more in testing and at Bainbridge. There is an idea that I don't even need to play Despair. I can just do that play, and if I didn't use Biden's effect, I'm not Dragon Lock, so I can just make an SP, which I wasn't running. I kind of do want to run an SP, but the only cards I'd be able to cut are these 2 cards to make the Striker SP. Maybe in the future, but right now, this worked for what it was, so. Alright, links. Not much to say. This doesn't often come up, but it comes up just enough. It came up once at Kissimmee and once at Bainbridge, so it won me the games. What can I say? You do want to run this regardless, just because of the mirror match, you can actually like take a Chandra when you didn't have access to it. So yeah, I wanted to run SP and Striker, but I just didn't have room for it. If I ran those cards, I would also want to run Dark, just so that you have access to this line against non-fire decks. And then of course we ran these tokens, because if they see that, they think you're playing a Yusei deck. I'm kidding. Whoever gets that reference, hats off to you. Don't ban me, Konami. I'm just joking. Alright, side deck. Zombie World. This is why we're running Ancient Fairy Dragon. I have too much respect for Flute to ever lose to get to that deck. That's the only deck I'm going to willingly go first against. I'm going to make Ancient Fairy, search this card, and then FTK you unless you see Cosmic. So, yeah, thank you, Jerome. You're the reason why I play this card.
Yes, sir.
Otherwise, it is actually decent in the mirror match, because I don't want to give them way out if I go first. So I can just give them this card. They don't want to flip it up, and I can just hard draw it, make seal, make this, and it's hard for them to kill me. So, this is probably what I should change. So we'll start off with Twin Twister. I only played this because Labyrinth is such a terrible matchup that I wanted something for it. I got destroyed by a lab at Bainbridge. I'm like, okay, I got to play something for it. It probably wasn't the right idea because I didn't play it at all at Kissimmee, and I'm like, I mean, that's the reason why I'm running Bell over Crow anyway, just because of lab, because otherwise I like Crow better in the mirror match and in a lot of other matchups, but like, lab, it's a very good deck. So played that, probably should be something else. Cosmic, Bell, I sided them in a lot. This card went insane. This card was pretty decent when I saw it, so still gotta play it. And then last thing for the extra or side deck, we've got 3 Shifter and 3 Fenrir. I sided this in all the time, all day long. So notice how there's no Heat Wave in the deck. I don't like the idea of Heat Wave against most decks because you cannot guarantee that you go first. In fact, I only had one person at Kissimmee tell me to go first post side, and that was the Fire King and Snake Eyes matchup. Every other person said, okay, I'm going to go first. They're going to side in their own D barriers, and they're like, okay, you're going to draw your Heat Waves dead and stuff like that. And my theory is that, no, I'm just going to put in Shifter, put in Fenrir, so regardless if I'm going first or second, I've got live cards, and they're pretty good into the matchups. Especially if I get D barriered, and I just like put Fenrir on the board, clear as much as I can, and make this seal hand trap pass, I should be fine, right? Like, a lot of decks struggle against that. Snake Eyes can still kill you through that. They can, but it's kind of a skill check. It says, okay, you actually have to play correctly and then kill me, or else, you know, I win. So it's cool. I Heat Shifter in this deck ideally because it kills a lot of your OTK lines, and it makes you really susceptible to things like Imperm, but it's too good of a card not to play. Like, it does auto win you games, so these cards went in whether I, if my opponent was choosing if I'm going first or second, they went in and they won me the game. So I will say, the last thing I will say is that if I do play Heat Wave in the future, it is literally just for the mirror match. I did not have anything dedicated towards the mirror match, and I got lucky enough to win the die rolls against my 2 mirror matches of the day. Otherwise, I'd probably just auto lose those. So if I going forward, I probably should play like Heat Wave or something just to blow out when I go first. Otherwise, that's like the only thing I would change on the side.
And Zane, you got any other changes you'd make to the main deck, extra deck, or side deck?
Not for the moment. Probably have to do that going forward because of Melodious. Yeah.
First thing is, I heard they call you the Evans.
I don't know.
And then the second question is, how do you feel about the 11th place deck that was main deck in anti-spell?
No opinion.
But okay.
Yeah, 11? That's cool.
No. But, Andrew, you've been putting in a lot of work with this deck. Yeah. Results are starting to show. Again, we're probably going to see here at a few of these upcoming events, potentially nationals as well. You got any final shout-outs or final remarks?
No, just thank you to the cameraman, Tino. Also to Big Brad, he's awesome. Hey, we got him in there. All right, and shout out to Bryn YGO. You can see Fady's second place profile there as well. So that's all.
Insane. Congratulations, Andrew.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.